Hello and welcome. I'm tuned in just a little bit early to get everything set up here, but I wanted to thank everyone for stopping in tonight. And we're going to share a little bit with the Timeless Tropical. Let me see. There we go. Focusing, that's going to help a little bit. That was not standing out so well there. So what I wanted to, well, sorry, get some background noise here. What I wanted to share with you today was using the Stampin' Right markers on the with the Timeless Tropical stamp set. And you guys don't know this, but this is actually take 3 of this for me. I had one of those weeks where I was just having a lot of troubles with getting my video production. First, I did this card. Well, here was take 1 video. I did it, and my memory card was full on my phone. Little did I know till I went to upload it that there was nothing there. So take 2, I made another one for you guys, and something happened with my video editing software, and YouTube for some reason does not like the format, even though it's the same format. So I thought, you know what, I can't figure all that out right now. Instead of fussing with it, I'm going to share with you this card live, and hopefully this will go a lot smoother. So this is from the new Timeless Tropical stamp set. And I think that with all of the fun with the Stampin' Blends out now, sometimes we forget about our Stampin' Right markers. So I wanted to play around with these, and this is a great set for it. As you can see on this tree, the palm tree, I've got variegation in the colors in the tree and a little bit in the trunk there. And I can get that by coloring directly onto the stamp. So let's go ahead and get started. I am going to be using a couple of images and a sentiment from this set, as well as a couple of images from the Mountain Air stamps that I'm going to be using, the sun and these little birds. So don't forget, you can mix and match your stamp sets. Now don't worry about the measurements because I'm going to have those on my blog, so you can pull these measurements at a later time. I will get that posted tomorrow once I get this finished and uploaded. I am pulling in paper from the Tropical, I think it's Tropical Escape is the name of this paper series that's in the new catalog. And it's got, of course, this tone side and then this gorgeous pattern on the other side, which I love that. But because I'm going to be hiding most of it, I really just wanted to use this as a matting layer in a background. I didn't want to distract from my focal image. Let's go ahead and bring our Stampin' Right markers in. And we're going to be using 2 colors in each color family. So I've got Pool Party and Bermuda Bay, Crumb Cake and Soft Suede for my browns, Mossy Meadow and Granny Apple Green, Mango Melody and So Saffron, and then my basic black. If you've used these Stampin' Right markers, give me a thumbs up and let me know if you have these in your stash and if you enjoy playing around with them. We've got so many different options for coloring, and it's fun to use all of them in different ways, and they all have their distinct purposes. So while I love the blends, I thought this one again was a great opportunity to get out my Stampin' Right markers. If you don't have these, I want to share there are 2 ends. There is a brush tip and a bullet nib on these. So you can get very fine coloring with that bullet nib, and then you can get wide brush strokes and going into narrow. I am not a letter brushstroke or lettering person, so if you are, these are great for that, and you're going to get a lot of pretty images, but that is not my strong suit. So let's go ahead and do a little bit of coloring on these, and these are really quick, and I am going to tell on myself a little bit here. So the first time many years ago that I went to a Stampin' Up! Party, it was the first exposure I had to stamping, and I thought it was a lot of fun, but I was looking in the catalog and I was very naive, I guess. I thought all these beautiful pictures and all I've got to do is stamp it. Well, yeah, they don't come in all those colors automatically in the stamp. I think I thought maybe it was like a re-inking kind of stamp set. So tell me I'm not the only one. If anybody else thought that was maybe going to be easier. I hope I was not the only naive person out there when I started my Stampin' journey, but again, it's so easy to get these colors. What I'm doing is I'm starting with my lighter color first and then going with my darker color in here. So that way, if I am getting any crossover, it's onto my darker shade. You can wipe these off very easily though. If you do get colors on, you're just going to scribble on your paper a little bit to get rid of the mix in those colors. And in fact, we'll go over, I'll show you that technique on a scratch piece of paper here in a little bit. So I'm using my crumb cake, oops, and I'm going to bring in my soft suede, and I'm just going along the edge here of that and then doing some cross hatches just to get some variation in that coloring. Now, if in case these do dry out a little bit, we're just going to breathe on those, let the moisture from our breath reactivate the inks before stamping onto the paper. And I'm going to bring that down kind of near the bottom. There's no exact precise spot. And look at the beautiful variation of colors that we get from using that. Let's go ahead and bring this in and get out the pineapple. We're going to do the same kind of technique with that pineapple and doing some coloring. Oops, and I actually start with my darker color and come in with a lighter, so saffron on the bottom there, and then just add some dots of color. And then I'm going to again use the two colors of green. I really like these two together, and I do want to make sure I'm getting all the way down so I don't have a gap when I'm doing that coloring. Come in here and just add a few of those darker greens, and I'm just going to stamp this down in the bottom right corner, and this is going to be our inside panel just to jazz it up a little bit. Now I'm going to do a little bit of drawing on this, and I am not an artist by any means, so if I can draw this, you can draw this. And come on in with this soft suede there. Got my edging, and then I'm just going to do coloring in my crumb cake, and I'm not being super precise because this is, you can, but to me this kind of image doesn't call for precision. It's kind of more of a free form. And I'm going to come back in with my bullet nib and that early espresso, and I'm just going to add some dots in there for the sand just to give it a little bit of color. And let's fix this where I went over the edge. I'm just going to put another little hill there. So simple. We're going to come in with the pool party, and I'm going to try and get this line fairly straight across because that's going to be my horizon line. And again, filling in those colors. So quick and easy. You can have a lot of fun coloring your stamps and your backgrounds, and people always enjoy a handmade card. I'm going to come in and add just some lines here with that deeper color. That's the Bermuda Bay, and I'm going to come in and just add some more dots in there. Now, I didn't do that on the other card, but I think I'm going to hop in here and I'm going to add some Winka Stella to that water and give it a nice shine. I think that'll really give it that little glimmer. A little bit of glimmer never hurts. Now, for the sun image, these are actually in the Mountain Air stamp set. They are reversible stamps. So this side has texture and gives you the craters on a moon, and the other side is smooth. I'm going to use that smooth side, and because I do prefer to use ink pads on my photopolymer stamps, I brought out my Mango Melody, to stamp the sun image. And I'm going to come right up here in that top corner, go over the edge to get my sun. And then we're going to use the little birds from the mountain air and my black. There we go. My basic black. So let's move those out of the way. And let's line these up, and I'm just going to color over those. When I'm coloring, I am using the side of this brush. This is a brush tip. You don't want to push down on it straight or you're going to damage that nib. And I'm just going to come in here and I'm going to stamp that. And we're going to do one more with all three of the birds kind of up in here. And then I don't want it to be super precise. I'm just getting that ink off on this paper because I did not bring my chamois over here and wet it down. So I'm just going to come in and do two of the birds and put them there. And let's do two and put them up there. I did get a little bit of an ink spot on there. That's my kitty in the background. I think he thinks I'm talking to him. He doesn't realize you guys are out there in the internet world. And let's grab my hello sentiment here. And we're going to use, again, the side of this and color in the black. Now, when I have these cling stamps, I do like to use my grid paper and kind of see if I'm lined up right. So, you know, I'm looking down at that going, that really doesn't look straight. So let me try and line it up, but I'm going to double check with my grid paper. So I do that by lining up the top of the block with one of the lines, stamping down, and that looks pretty straight on that line to me. So I think we've got good placement on this stamp. And another tip, instead of trying to put it right down on this line, if I go up a little bit more, if I do get that sentiment a little bit off kilter, it's not going to be noticeable like it would if I was trying to put it right down on the edge. Now all we've got left to do is assemble this card. I'd love to hear what you guys like about coloring, which coloring mediums you like. Is your favorite the ink, the Stampin' blends, Stampin' Write markers? Go ahead and leave me a comment. Let me know what your favorites are. Let me know that you're out there. I can tell that there's people watching, but I love to hear from you guys and what you're enjoying about your stamping. I hope that you're getting time to have a little bit of creative play this weekend. So this is a pear pizzazz that I'm using for my base and crumb cake that I use to mat this piece here. I'll finish assembling this, and then I've got just a couple of tips to share with you on the Stampin' Write markers for some other techniques that you can use them for. I'm going to pop this up on some dimensionals, and I'm going to actually use these edges here. They're great for this kind of a large panel. So make sure you're not throwing those away when you're done with all of your dimensionals on your sheet. And then I'm going to pop a couple in here in the middle just so we don't have that sag. Don't get stingy with your dimensionals. It's okay to use a few of them. They're so economical and they add a lot to our projects. I'm going to center this up on there, and there we go. Got number 3, take 3 in producing this card and sharing it with you guys. So as promised, let me show you a couple of tips with or other techniques you can use with these Stampin' blends. So you can go straight to marker with these colors and get unique coloring options. So I'm just going to take my Bermuda Bay and my So Saffron, and then I'm going to get a kind of a teal color, and you'll see that comes off pretty quickly. So you just have to re-ink, but it gets this pretty blending effect with your markers. So you can use these for a lot of different colors and techniques. The other thing you can do with these is you can use a blender pen. And I think the blender pens, if you do not have a blender pen in your tool chest, I would highly recommend that you add that to your next order. So I can come in here with my blender pen, and I'm just picking up some ink from the edge of this with that pen, and I can color. Now, the thing I like with using the blender pen too is it's going to kind of fade out. So if I want to get lighter colors, I can just keep brushing that off, and it's going to get me some shading. So I can get a really pale color with that. These are re-inkable, so refillable. Use tweezers and pull this nib out. You can put a couple of drops of your ink refills in there and put that nib right back in, and you're good to go. When you're using these, do make sure that you store them on their sides. That way the ink is going to stay equally distributed within your pen. So I hope that you guys learn. Oh, and with your blender pens, you're going to see some discoloration on the end, but as long as you wipe that and you're not seeing color come through, then you're good with those. They're all cleaned off and ready to go. So I hope you found this helpful. You got some techniques, and if you don't have blender pens and Stampin' Right markers, I recommend picking some up. They're a great way when you're starting out to get a lot of colors. They're much more economical than buying the blends, or especially buying all the ink pads and all the colors. You can pick them up and get the whole color set for, I think it's about $140, or you can pick them up by color family. And so get one color family at a time, get your brights, your regals, and you'll have so much fun with these and get a lot of use out of them. And they really do last a very long time. But again, you can always re-ink them if you have some colors that are your favorites that you find you're using all of the time. Hope you guys have a great evening. Until we meet again, make sure you grab your paper, stamp, and ink, and get creative.